Step into the Cold War gallery, where the tension of a decades-long standoff comes to life through iconic aircraft and artifacts. In this first part of a two-part series, we'll explore the early years of this era, from the dawn of jet fighters to the brink of nuclear conflict. Get ready to see how air power shaped a world divided between superpowers. Cold War reconnaissance planes turned the sky into a silent battleground, where cutting-edge designs outmaneuvered radar and missiles to spy on rival nations. Here, we'll explore the engineering triumphs and risky flights that defined aerial espionage in a divided world. The Republic RF-84K Thunderflash was a specialized reconnaissance fighter intended to piggyback on GRB-36 bombers, equipped with cameras and a nuclear strike capability to penetrate deep into enemy territory during its short-lived fighter conveyor trials from 1955 to 1956. Its design included a prominent nose hook and stabilizers angled downward by 23 degrees, adaptations that facilitated mid-air deployment and recovery, though test pilots struggled with the procedure under real-world conditions, leading to the program's termination. This RF-84K, built in 1955 and later used for training, highlights a bold experiment in extending jet fighter range before more practical technologies prevailed. It is marked as it appeared while serving in the 91st Surveillance and Reconnaissance Squadron in the mid-1950s. The North American RF-86F Sabre was developed during the Korean War by modifying existing F-86F airframes with cameras in the nose and gun bay to gather intelligence over enemy territory, beginning operations in late 1952. Stripped of most armament to accommodate photographic equipment, these aircraft flew high-speed, low-altitude missions over North Korea and China, providing critical imagery despite the risks posed by MiG-15s and anti-aircraft fire. Only a handful were converted. Records suggest around 18, making it a rare and short-lived adaptation, with its legacy tied to the Air Force's urgent need for tactical reconnaissance during the conflict. It is marked as it appeared while assigned to the 15th Tactical Reconnaissance Squadron deployed to Kamaki Air Base in Japan. Boeing's RB-47, a reconnaissance variant of the B-47 Stratojet, emerged in the early 1950s as a critical Cold War asset, equipped with advanced cameras and electronic intelligence gear to monitor Soviet military activities from high altitudes and speeds up to 600 miles per hour. Its RB-47H model, introduced in 1955, featured a pressurized compartment in the bomb bay for 3 electronic warfare officers who operated sophisticated equipment to detect radar and communication signals, often flying perilous missions near or over hostile borders. Though retired by the late 1960s as satellites took over, its extensive service, including over 1,000 missions by some aircrews, left a lasting mark on strategic reconnaissance, with the museum's RB-47H being the only known surviving example of its kind. This aircraft showcases the Air Force's early jet-age efforts in strategic surveillance and honoring the crews who risked their lives on high-risk flights near enemy airspace. Martin's RB-57D, an advanced reconnaissance variant of the B-57 Canberra, was introduced in the mid-1950s with extended, high-aspect ratio wings and uprated engines, enabling it to conduct photographic and electronic intelligence missions at altitudes exceeding 60,000 feet during the Cold War. Designed to bridge the gap between earlier RB-57 models and the forthcoming U-2, it flew critical missions over Soviet and Chinese territories, but its operational life was marred by structural failures, including the loss of 6 aircraft in 1957 due to wing fatigue. Retired by the early 1960s as more capable platforms emerged, it remains a testament to the Air Force's early efforts to push jet reconnaissance to new heights. The RB-57D Canberra showcases its pioneering high-altitude reconnaissance capabilities, which filled a critical intelligence gap during the Cold War before the U-2 became operational. McDonnell Douglas's RF-4C, a specialized reconnaissance version of the Phantom II, was deployed extensively in Vietnam starting in 1965, using its speed and sophisticated sensors to map enemy positions and monitor the Ho Chi Minh Trail, often under hazardous conditions that tested its durability. With a crew of 2, a pilot and a weapons systems officer, it combined fighter-like performance with intelligence-gathering prowess, serving through the Cold War and into Desert Storm before its final retirement in 1994. The museum's RF-4C served in Vietnam, Japan, Korea, Europe, Cuba, and the Middle East, flying 172 missions, more than any other F-4 aircraft. The Lockheed U-2, introduced in 1956 and nicknamed Dragon Lady, was a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft designed by Kelly Johnson's Skunk Works, capable of flying above 70,000 feet to photograph Soviet military sites during the Cold War, far beyond the reach of most defenses. Its most infamous mission came in 1960 when Francis Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union by an SA-2 missile, sparking an international incident that halted U-2 overflights of Soviet territory and shifted focus to peripheral and proxy missions. Still in service today with upgrades like the U-2S, this U-2 reflects its enduring legacy in intelligence gathering from the Cuban Missile Crisis to modern conflicts. This aircraft is the last U-2A built and made 285 flights to gather data on high-altitude, clear-air turbulence. Then, during the 1970s, it flight-tested reconnaissance systems. The SR-71A, Lockheed's answer to the need for untouchable reconnaissance, entered service in 1966 with a futuristic design that allowed it to cruise at over 2,000 miles per hour, evading missiles and fighters while photographing vast swathes of enemy territory from the edge of space. Its operational history includes over 1,000 attempted intercepts, all unsuccessful, supporting missions for Vietnam to Soviet borders until budget cuts and satellite advancements led to its Air Force retirement in 1990, though it flew NASA research missions into 1998. This SR-71A, grounded since 1976, embodies the pinnacle of Cold War aerospace innovation and human ingenuity. During its career, this aircraft accumulated 2,981 flying hours and flew 942 total sorties, more than any other SR-71, including 257 operational missions. The Hawker Beechcraft MC-12W Liberty entered U.S. Air Force service in June 2009, rapidly deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan as part of Project Liberty to meet urgent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance ISR needs. It flew over 400,000 combat hours across 79,000 sorties, aiding in the capture or elimination of over 8,000 targets and uncovering 650 weapons caches before the Air Force began divesting the fleet in 2014. By October 2015, all 41 aircraft were transferred to the U.S. Army and Special Operations Command, marking the end of its Air Force tenure with a final deployment in Operation Enduring Freedom. This MC-12W Liberty showcases a humble commercial Beechcraft civilian airplane that became an intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance powerhouse that logged over 400,000 combat hours in just a few years. Lockheed's D-21B, an advanced remotely piloted aircraft developed by the Skunk Works in the 1960s, was designed for high-speed, high-altitude reconnaissance missions over hostile territories, launched from a modified A-12 or B-52 and powered by a ramjet engine to reach speeds over Mach 3. It flew operational missions during the Vietnam War, following pre-programmed paths to capture intelligence before ejecting its film package for mid-air recovery, after which it self-destructed to avoid capture. Though innovative, its operational use was limited to 4 missions between 1969 and 1971 due to reliability issues and the rise of satellite technology, with an example at the museum having been launched from a B-52. The D-21B's exhibit underscores its status as a rare surviving artifact of the Skunk Works experimental legacy, offering visitors a glimpse into the Air Force's brief but ambitious foray into supersonic, disposable reconnaissance system. Ryan's AQM-34N Firebee was a high-altitude reconnaissance drone developed from the Ryan 147H, capable of flying above 60,000 feet with a range exceeding 2,400 miles. Its display highlights its role in Strategic Air Command missions between 1967 and 1971, where it conducted 139 pre-programmed flights over hostile territory that were launched from DC-130 aircraft. The Teledyne Ryan AQM-91A stands as a relic of Cold War innovation. Designed to photograph Chinese nuclear sites, it was capable of flying at 78,000 feet with a range of over 2,000 miles. Its sleek, black design reflects its pioneering use of radar-deflecting composites and a top-mounted engine to evade detection. The Boeing-designed YCGM-121B Seek Spinner represents an early attempt at a loitering munition, programmed to circle a target area until its sensors locked onto enemy radar signals for a precision strike. Its presence in the museum, acquired after the program's cancellation, offers a glimpse into the Cold War-era push for robotic warfare solutions that never fully materialized. The RQ-1 Predator is a pre-production model from General Atomics, notable for its role as a medium-altitude, long-endurance unmanned aerial vehicle system that revolutionized reconnaissance starting in 1995. Initially developed as an advanced concept technology demonstration, it transitioned to Air Force service in 1996. Equipped with a Rotax 914 engine and sensors like a color nose camera and synthetic aperture radar for all-weather surveillance. This artifact represents the early era of UAVs that paved the way for modern drone warfare, though it never saw combat itself as it was a pre-production unit. The Ryan BQM-34 Firebee represents a cornerstone of Cold War aerial technology, with over 7,000 units built since its debut in 1963. This example, painted for visibility, underscores its primary mission of providing realistic targets for missile testing, a role it fulfilled across decades of Air Force operations. The BQM-74C Chakar 3 is a Northrop-developed target drone from the late 1970s, designed to simulate subsonic aircraft and cruise missiles for U.S. Navy training exercises. During Operation Desert Storm in 1991, the Air Force adapted 44 of these drones as decoys, enhancing their radar signatures to mislead Iraqi air defenses. Exhibited in the Cold War Gallery, these Air Force trainer aircraft represent the backbone of pilot education during a period of superpower rivalry, equipping aviators with the skills needed for reconnaissance, combat, and deterrence missions. Their presence offers a glimpse into the rigorous training programs that ensured readiness, featuring both the simplicity of early trainers and the sophistication of jet-age models. The North American T-28A Trojan played a key role in standardizing Air Force pilot training during the 1950s, offering a stable, forgiving platform that bridged the gap between light trainers and the faster, more complex jets of the Cold War. Its widespread use, with nearly 1,200 delivered to the Air Force, ensured a steady supply of skilled aviators until its replacement by more modern trainers in the early 1960s. With nearly 6,000 units produced, the North American T-33A Shooting Star played a vital role in preparing Air Force pilots for advanced fighters and bombers, offering a two-seat configuration that allowed instructors to guide students through jet-powered flight dynamics. Its versatility also saw it used for proficiency training and even combat roles in some nations, though its primary mission remained pilot development during the tense Cold War years. The Beech T-34A mentor's role was to bridge the gap between ground school and more advanced trainers, delivering a lightweight, single-engine aircraft that taught fundamental aerobatics and navigation to new aviators. With 423 units delivered starting in 1953, it supported the rapid expansion of air training programs until jet trainers became the standard by the late 1950s. Cessna's T-37 Tweet served as the primary jet trainer for the United States Air Force for over 50 years, introducing countless cadets to jet aircraft operations with its side-by-side seating that enhanced instructor-student interaction. Its long service life, from 1957 to 2009, was supported by its economical design and ease of maintenance. The T-41A Mescalero, a military adaptation of the Cessna 172, was utilized by the United States Air Force starting in 1964 as a preliminary flight screening aircraft to assess pilot candidates before they advanced to jet training, offering a cost-effective and reliable platform for initial flight instruction. It was an off-the-shelf solution adopted in 1964, meeting the Air Force's growing need for pilots during the Cold War era. The AT-38B Talon was instrumental as an advanced trainer in the U.S. Air Force, equipping trainees with the skills needed for piloting fighter aircraft by simulating combat scenarios, including weapons delivery and tactical maneuvers. Its role extended to preparing students for operational assignments in high-performance jets like the F-15 and F-16. Grumman's HU-16B Albatross, an amphibious flying boat, was a cornerstone of the U.S. Air Force's search and rescue operations during the Vietnam War, leveraging its long-wing design to conduct extensive missions over water and land. Its ability to land on open seas made it invaluable for rescuing downed pilots, earning it a reputation for rugged reliability in combat zones. This HU-16 was one of the last operational U.S. Air Force Albatrosses. Cessna's U-3A, known as the Blue Canoe, served as a light utility transport for the U.S. Air Force, primarily used to ferry personnel and small cargo between bases starting in 1957. Its twin-engine design, derived from the civilian Cessna 310, provided reliable short-range transport for administrative and support missions. The U-6A Beaver, a militarized version of the de Havilland Canada DHC-2, was extensively used by the U.S. Army and Air Force as a utility aircraft for medical evacuation, transporting litter and ambulatory patients during the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Its short takeoff and landing capabilities made it ideal for operating in rugged, unprepared airstrips close to combat zones. The Bell Boeing CV-22B Osprey, utilized by the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command, has been pivotal in conducting long-range infiltration, exfiltration, and resupply missions, leveraging its tilt-rotor design to access austere environments where traditional aircraft struggle. Its speed and vertical takeoff capabilities enabled rapid response during critical operations, such as the 2021 rescue of an American hostage in Nigeria, flying from Nigeria to Spain post-mission. The radioplane OQ-19D, a propeller-driven target drone, was used by the U.S. Army, Navy, and Air Force starting in 1948 to train anti-aircraft gunners, simulating high-speed aerial targets at speeds up to 200 miles per hour. This Cessna 172, though not a standard military variant, played a unique role in U.S. Air Force history as the only civilian aircraft authorized to fly over New York City on September 12, 2001, conducting aerial photography of the World Trade Center wreckage. Operated by Civil Air Patrol officers under Air Force oversight, it provided critical imagery that aided emergency response and investigation efforts following the 9/11 attacks. The Piper J-3C Cub, a civilian light aircraft adapted for military use, served the U.S. Army Air Force primarily through the Civil Air Patrol, CAP, conducting coastal patrols and search missions during World War II to support the war effort. Its simple design and low-speed handling made it an effective tool for spotting submarines and assisting in missing aircraft searches, as CAP members flew their personal Cubs under Air Force Auxiliary Command. The Grumman 12 Duck, an amphibious biplane adapted from the Navy's J-2F6, was employed by the U.S. Air Force post-World War II as an air-sea rescue aircraft, capable of landing on water to retrieve downed pilots. Its service began in 1948, leveraging its rugged design to support rescue operations in challenging environments until it was phased out in favor of more modern aircraft. Employed by the Air Force, Army, and Air National Guard, the Cessna LC-126 facilitated Arctic rescue services, delivering personnel and supplies to remote locations with its excellent short-field performance. Its versatility allowed it to adapt to extreme conditions, making it an essential asset for early Cold War-era operations in polar regions. The KC-97L Stratofreighter, an enhanced version of the Boeing KC-97 with added General Electric J-47 jet engines, played a critical role in the U.S. Air Force by providing aerial refueling capabilities to jet aircraft like the B-52 Stratofortress during the Cold War. Introduced in the early 1960s, its jet pods increased speed and altitude performance, making it more compatible with faster jet bombers than earlier KC-97 models. It served extensively with the Strategic Air Command SAC until 1965, extending the range of SAC's bomber fleet for global missions. After SAC phased it out, the KC-97L continued supporting Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve units until its full retirement in 1978. Converted from surplus B-50D bombers, the WB-50D served the Air Weather Service by stripping armament and adding extra fuel capacity in the bomb bay, enabling extended weather reconnaissance flights vital for military planning and operations. Its operational history was marred by 13 major accidents between 1956 and 1960, resulting in 66 crew fatalities, which led to a grounding in 1960 due to fuel leaks before its eventual replacement by modified B-47 Stratojets. The aircraft's distinctive red fin and weather markings made it recognizable during Arctic missions, where it supported emergency landings and data collection in harsh climates. The WB-50D's final operational unit, the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, retired the fleet in 1965, with this being the one preserve example. That wraps up part 1 of our journey through the Cold War gallery, where we've explored some incredible aircraft that shaped a pivotal era in history. Join us for part 2 to continue the adventure with more historic aircraft. Leave a like and comment to let us know what you're excited to see next.